Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste, hello everyone. Welcome to my NPTEL course on interior design. We are at the lecture number 8 today. We are going to talk about trends, concepts and schemes in lighting, color, furnishing and finishes. And these are all very important aspects for interior architecture projects. So the broad contents, as you can see on the slide, are lighting, color, furnishing, finishes along with a set of references. So we start with lighting, and lighting plays a crucial role in interior design. It goes beyond saying. And lighting has a power to transform a room or a space by creating ambience, enhancing colors, textures, or highlighting certain architectural as well as non-architectural features. A well-lit room can make it appear spacious, while a poorly lit room can make it appear cramped, uninviting or smaller. So lighting has a profound impact on how a space appears, how it feels, and how it interacts with the psychology of the user. Now, lighting requires careful planning. It has a science involved behind it. It's not simply going and taking a light fixture from the market and just installing it, but there is a thought behind it. One has to really understand all the nuances, for what purpose the lighting is done, what kind of space it is, what is the scale, who is the end user, and so on. So it requires careful planning, and we have to ensure that light fixtures, light sources, light levels, all of these complement the room's purpose as well as the design style. Like I was saying, there is a science behind lighting, and of course there is also a great bearing on the mood. So lighting does impact mood a lot. So we have to understand capacity of visual fields, and when we look at the human eye, we have a focus vision, we have a central vision, we see this cone over here, and there is of course peripheral vision, which is denoted by green. Now the focus vision is all about, signs, signals, visual lead, targeting. Central vision is about referencing, path of travel and sight lines. And peripheral vision has to do a lot with motion and color changes. So there is of course this science, and there is an understanding of visual fields and the kind of vision and the capacity that is associated with each of these visual fields, and the knowledge and experience of working on lighting as designer, utilizing all this science, that becomes very useful for interior architecture projects. So lighting can certainly affect our moods and behavior. Bright, cool toned lighting, it can increase our focus and concentration. The dimmer, warmer lighting can induce relaxation and calmness. This means that lighting can be used to create different moods in different spaces. Whether it's an energizing study room or it's a cozy living room and so on. We can create different moods for different spaces at different times during different seasons of the year. So all of that is possible. Now studies have shown that the color temperature of light can also affect our mood, and this is a very important point to understand. And whenever I say that there is a physics of light and chemistry of colors involved while we try to understand interior design as a profession, there is certainly this understanding which is required, which is very scientific and technical when we talk about interior architecture projects. So warm white light, of course, has, the certain temperature which is associated with it, and it is calming and relaxing. While cool white light, it is quite stimulating and energizing. And daylight, of course, is known to improve mood and productivity. And we are talking about daylight as a very, very important factor when we are talking about green interiors also. So there are a lot of profound interrelationships between lighting and mood, and there is also an association of color temperature, an association or connotation of warmth, coolness, with lighting. So while we design lighting, we have to keep all of these things in mind, and it always helps in custom designing and providing and optimizing the best possible solutions for the users. Lighting in interior space requires coordination of light with other factors such as color that we were just talking about, reflection, texture of the surface, etc. So we are going to see an overview today about trends and schemes and impact of lighting, color, furnishings and finishes, but we will see more about color and interrelationship between lighting and color when we talk about physics of light in another lecture. So we have to understand this coordination of light with the other factors. Color is an important part of the design. It is one of the most important and dominant design elements. The colors in a space are seen as reflected light. So this is again also a bit of a science involved when we talk about lighting and specifically discussing it in relationship with colors. Color and surface reflectance can either enhance or nullify the distribution of light from the luminaire, giving the total quantity of usable and visible reflected light by a surface in all directions and at all wavelengths when illuminated by a light source. So this is very interesting and fascinating aspect, and how we could use these to our advantage as designers is up to us. Then it's very interesting to see what are the different types of lighting and the most popular ones when we use in interior design projects. There are three main types of lighting in interior design: ambient, task and accent lighting. Now ambient lighting provides overall illumination in a space, room or wherever. Task lighting is directed to specific areas. And accent lighting highlights objects, artworks, any other kind of detail or specific features that one would want to highlight. And we also talk about mood lighting as an important kind of lighting, which is the lighting designed to create a temporary state of mind or feeling affecting mood. So this is a sort of a plethora which we could play with and utilize based on what is the purpose and where we are installing these lights or for what reasons we are designing them. So task lighting, like we were talking about, what does it do? So it can be provided by desk lamps, reading lamps, under cabinet lighting. Accent lighting could be achieved through spotlights, track lighting, picture lights. Ambient lighting can be achieved through ceiling fixtures or wall sconces, so it gives an overall illumination. For mood lighting, we could do various things, decorative lighting, different kinds of designs of lamps using some kind of textures, feel, etc. And also the play of intensity to impact our mood. So here we see this very nice illustration where we are able to understand the task lighting, and this is the purpose for which it is designed, and there is a specific task in focus. And this is the accent lighting where this particular object or planter or a detail is being highlighted. And this is ambient lighting, which is sort of the overall lighting that we see in a room, and it is practical and it is for the overall, lighting inside the space. Now, if we want to understand certain specific fixtures related to each of these lighting typologies, let's say task lighting fixtures, then the best would be pendant lamps, swing arm lamp, under cabinet, vanity lights, all of these types. Then for the accent lighting fixtures, we can have wall sconces, floodlights, recessed lights, also the track. And then for the mood lighting fixtures, like we saw in one of the images on the previous slide, the LED stripes or strip lights, paper lanterns, or different kind of textures that could make you feel different emotions, fairy lights, chandeliers, etc. So just by also selecting the kind of fixture, there is a profound impact on what kind of lighting could be achieved within a space. Now we are talking about also, the smart lighting, and we are in 2025, and there is more of a vogue and trend, and this is only going to increase because, of course, we are talking about Internet of Things, we are talking about AI, and we are also talking about artificial intelligence of things, which is AIoT, and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth controlled lights. So the universe is now about the smart lighting when we talk about lighting as an umbrella term. So smart lighting refers to a specific set of lighting technology that is specially designed to increase efficiency and conserve energy. So we all must have come across by now, smart home, mobile application, smart voice assistant, and smart lighting. And they are connected through internet. There is a cloud, there is a gateway, or there is a hub, and these all devices are connected, and we could just operate them with our phones or just by a click of remote. So smart lighting utilizes AI, IoT to auto-regulate aspects like intensity and color with respect to its immediate surroundings. So it's all technology driven, it's all controlled via applications and devices, and it can help us understand to some extent the science that we were talking about, and we will continue to discuss during this lecture, because there are certain coordination, there are certain simulations, there are certain combinations that the software and this digital technology presents to us, with samples, and the user could understand, what is mood lighting or ambient lighting, and could just instruct the technology, and we have that kind of ambience. So that way it is becoming very trendy. But as designers and as students, it's also important that we understand these aspects related to, the technology behind lighting and the science behind colors and their interrelationships, and not just rely on the devices and smart tools. When combined, AI and IoT result in AIoT, the artificial intelligence of things. Smart lighting is an example of AIoT, which in its advanced form can be regulated remotely via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So we are aware of, some app controls, Alexa or Google Home, the cloud support system, smart controller, remote control, brightness and color control. So all of these we may have already come across, and we are aware of these technology driven advancements when we talk about lighting. So smart lighting is a huge market, and it's also very, very, what should I say, efficient, and it particularly also helps us understand the energy consumption and where we can employ smart tools and better technology and better fixtures to have less burden on energy consumption and make the lighting design more efficient, energy efficient, also aesthetic. Now, choosing the right light fixtures is very, very important, as we have also understood so far based on the types of lighting we want to achieve. So the fixture style should match the room's design style, whether it's modern, traditional, eclectic, kitsch, or any other style. The style includes the fixture's materials, color, and shape. For example, an industrial style pendant light would look out of place in a room with a classic design style. So we have to also understand this, and as designers it's very very important to understand the design styles, the types of lighting fixtures which are available in the market, what kind of custom designs could we bring to the table, what is an industrial style pendant, etc. So this is one drawing by IKEA. A lot of us are aware of IKEA. IKEA is again a big name, and it promotes DIY designs and a very huge wide range of designs and different kinds of products. So these are different kinds of pendant lamps and their dimensions, and there are more illustrations and catalogs which you could find here when you go to the website of IKEA or visit a store. Fixture size and placement are crucial to ensure that the lighting fixture is proportional to the room and provides the desired illumination. So when we see the physics of light, we will also try to understand illumination, illuminance, surface reflectance, because the lecture would become otherwise very long and heavy if I try to incorporate everything today. So broadly speaking, I'm talking about lighting, colors, finishing, furnishing, and there are certain parameters and certain dimensions that I may not be able to cover today, but I'll try to cover that in another lecture. So in a dining room, for instance, the chandelier's size should be chosen based on the table size. Now these are basic references that we can also understand being as designers or learners of interior design. This could be the reference to design the lighting above. Again, now there are some of the interesting illustrations and drawings and images that we will see during this lecture, which will help us understand the lighting design and picking up the right kind of a fixture. So this is the island lighting, and there are two configurations that you see here and here. So there is one light fixture over here, 8 inches to 12 inches from the edge of the countertop, and from here to here it is 30 inches to 32 inches from countertop to bottom of the pendant. And the other configuration is this one over here, one here and two placed over here, and this width is approximately 30 inches, two cross pendant width in between. So both of these could work well, and you could choose depending on what you're liking and what the purpose is. And I personally like this one. So for any kind of island kitchen or any island lighting that you would want to design, these are the basic dimensions and placements that you could keep in mind. And there are more references and more books and catalogs available to help us understand this. I will also share with you, in the references, the handbook of interior design. That would also be very, very useful for all the users and participants. In a living room, lighting fixtures should be placed strategically to balance the room's ambience and provide adequate illumination without being too harsh. So proper lighting, proper ambience, and placing them very strategically to balance both of these. It is important to consider and explore energy efficient lighting. We were just talking about it while we were discussing the smart lighting. Why it is very important to explore energy efficient options, because we want to reduce the energy. We have also been talking about green interiors. We have been talking about sustainability. We are trying to reduce the impact on the environment and cause less harm to it. So energy efficient lighting is definitely very crucial, I would say mandatory now. And there are lots of options available. So to reduce energy usage, and also important aspect is that it also helps in reducing the long-term costs. So one has to make the clientele understand the returns on investment and the reduction in the electricity bill, less harm to the environment. So there are options like LED lighting, compact fluorescent bulbs, other smart lighting systems, which are there at our disposal to reduce energy usage and have energy efficient lighting design in place. These options provide excellent and energy efficient illumination while ensuring your lighting choices have positive impact on the environment. Now, lighting layout, of course, is a very important drawing. It's an important tool for us as designers. And while we are designing the lighting, in an entire project or, on an entire floor, it's very important to have this layout in place. Like this is one of the samples that you see on the slide. We have different kinds of lights which have been highlighted here through this index. So there are non-dimmable down lights over here. There is under cupboard light. We have stair lights over here in the staircase areas. There are also dimmable down lights. So both kinds, non-dimmable and dimmable. There are fluorescent lights. We also see external floodlights. Some other kinds of lights we see over here. And there are some standard buttons. Yeah. So it's always important to create, proper layout and then, take a holistic picture and then install your lighting and everything. But it's important to have a drawing, proper layout, all the details laid out. Functional lighting for different spaces. Now we talked about 3 major types of lighting. And we are talking here about task lighting for work and study areas. So in a study room, to provide optimal illumination for specific tasks, such as this over here, task lighting should be directed to the desk area. In a kitchen, under cabinet lighting provides excellent task lighting for food preparation areas. So we have to understand the space, the purpose why the lighting is required, and the kind of light fixture that will help us achieve that purpose. Additionally, thinking about reduction of energy, reducing your electricity bill, and being positive in creating impact on the environment. Then the ambient lighting for living and relaxation spaces. Now, we talked about ambient lighting, that it provides the overall illumination to a space or a room. So, for example, a pendant light in a living room, such as this one over here, it can create a cozy ambience, while a dimmer switch allows for customization of light levels according to mood or activity. So we could also adjust intensity through the design of levels and remote controls, and we can play with the levels, from dimmest to the brightest. So that's also a possibility of having variations. Accent lighting for showcasing art and decor, such as this, like we see over here, a track light. So accent lighting is the go-to choice for highlighting objects, artworks, or other specific features. For instance, the track lighting, it can help to create an art gallery look in a hallway. To showcase a collection of art, or a wall sconce can put on, an emphasis on a unique architectural detail in a room. Now, it's also important, while we talk about lighting, how to balance natural and artificial light sources. We have also discussed daylight, natural light, and artificial light, while we are talking about green interiors, specifically discussing the light. So, natural lighting can provide an array of benefits, of course, from vitamin D to energy efficiency. However, it also poses certain challenges, as the angle and intensity of natural light changes throughout the day, making it essential to choose the appropriate artificial light sources to maintain a unified look throughout the day. So, like whenever I take my architecture studios or interior design studios, I always talk about a summer section and a winter section, and the angle of sun changing and the kind of lighting received throughout the day and across the seasons. So that helps us understand, how the space behaves with respect to lighting at different time periods throughout the season, throughout the year, and then we can design the spaces accordingly. And of course, we cannot have the luxury of having natural light always within a space. So we have to have artificial light sources as well, and we have to create a balance of the two of these. Window treatments can also play a role in balancing natural and artificial light sources. Sheer curtains, they can filter natural light while still allowing it to enter the room, while the blackout curtains can block out natural light entirely. Depends what's the purpose and why you are putting them there. Blinds and shades can also be used to control the amount of natural light that enters a room, whether you want to cut it a bit or you want to have it in full intensity. Now, the impact of lighting on color and texture, which I told that in the beginning that we will discuss a bit more, during the lecture, which focuses on physics of light and chemistry of colors. But briefly talking about it, enhancing color schemes with lighting. Lighting can greatly enhance a room's color scheme. Cool toned lights can bring out the blue and green tones in a space, while warm toned lighting can bring out the yellows, oranges, and reds. It is important to consider the light temperature and the type of bulb or light fixture when selecting lighting to enhance the color scheme. So we have, certain cool colors, warm colors. We have cool toned lights, warm toned lights. We have associated colors like, blue and green with the cool toned, and, yellows, oranges, reds, which signify warmth with the warm toned lighting. And we could select them, as per our requirement and what is the color scheme and the mood that we want. So there is a profound interrelationship between lighting and color schemes. And the color schemes could be further enhanced through lighting and also vice versa. So if we try to understand lighting, color, temperature scale over here, like this is a reference to the candle flame, and here we see this temperature. And here we are talking about the warm white LED and the associated temperature. This is for the halogen. And here we are talking about natural bright white LED. And this is cool white. So we get an idea of, changing colors as well as the range of temperatures and the associated light, whether it's warm white or natural bright or cool white or warm white incandescent or like a candle flame. So if we understand this science and we understand this interrelationship, we can definitely apply this to our advantage as designers and create interesting, interactive, aesthetic, and purposeful spaces. Now, creating depth and dimension with light. Light can create depth and dimension in a space by highlighting certain areas or adding shadow to others. These are like, interesting ways in which we can create depth and dimension in a space. For instance, directional lighting can help to create a sense of depth and drama in a room, highlighting texture and shape in an object or artwork. So that's possible. Highlighting textures and patterns such as these. When it comes to texture and pattern, lighting can help to showcase them and make them stand out. Accent lights can be directed to highlight a feature wall, create shadow play, or draw attention to a unique texture or pattern in a fabric or rug. So we can do the accent lighting to highlight all these details. Now, lighting effects. We start by looking at downlighting. Downlighting is one of the most popular forms of lighting. Most lights placed centrally and spotlights are examples of downlighting. However, downlighting alone causes awkward shadows and should be accompanied by ambient lighting. Now, this is very important to understand. What kinds of combinations do we use to make the optimal, use of lighting within a space and create the effects that we intend to do? Then there is uplighting. As suggested by the name itself, these light fixtures are attached closer to the ground level, and the emitted light is made to bounce off the ceiling, causing an even distribution. They are often used to highlight artwork and other unique features of a room. Staircase lighting too looks brilliant with uplighting. There is a lighting effect which is known as wall washing, and here the placement and distance are keys. For a wall washing effect, the source of light needs to be placed at an apt distance where the emitted light can cover the maximum surface area of the vertical surface, resulting in soft uniform illuminance. Then there is wall grazing. If one is looking to highlight textures on the walls, wall grazing is the way forward. The source of light is angled in a way that accentuates the texture surface, adding drama to the aesthetics within the space. Now, just trying to understand wall washing and wall grazing through this illustration. Here, for the case of wall washing, the light fixture is placed greater than 12 inches from this edge, and for grazing, it is less than 12 inches from this edge. So, here we are trying to maximize the surface where the light falls, and here we are trying to highlight a certain texture and it's placed a bit closer to this edge or the wall or the surface. Spotlighting. Spotlighting highlights varied aspects of a room. It can draw away attention from unflattering corners to spots that are more interesting. It is further used as task lighting and accent lighting since it highlights specific features. So it can be used in a multi-purpose way. Now, perimeter lighting. Perimeter lighting is used to cast a feeling of vastness in any given room, since this form helps accentuate the dimensions. Coving or cornice lighting is an effective mode of perimeter lighting. It is used extensively by interior designers. We see this cove lighting over here, lit from within. Lighting goes beyond its functional aspect. It plays a vital role in interior design, creating mood and transforming spaces. By understanding the science behind lighting and its impact on texture, color, and mood, homeowners and designers can make informed choices when selecting light fixtures and creating lighting plans for different spaces. Now we will talk about colors. So color is one of the most fundamental and influential elements of interior design, and a major factor in determining the success or failure of a decorative scheme. The carefully considered use of color can unify furnishings and finishes to produce a cohesive and pleasing result. Color plays a major role in defining the mood of a scheme. Together with consideration of the shape and proportions of a room, the designers need to be careful with the selection of colors to achieve the desired effects. So we could have different kinds of color schemes, and we are seeing that, whether it's reds or browns or yellows, greens, blues, whites. So there are different schemes which are possible, and one could pick and choose and design depending on the clientele needs and the purpose and the design why it is being designed. So we are going to talk a bit about these different types of colors and what do they do to the space in one of the upcoming lectures. Mood boards, particularly sample boards, are useful collages of color swatches. I follow them sacrosanctly, they are very, very useful. Collages of color swatches, material samples, illustrations, and styles that enable the designer to assess the important aspects of the selected materials, including texture, pattern, reflectivity, etc. So, mood boards, swatches, all of these are very important tools for, designers, students. And we could create our own mood boards, and they could be of different kinds. Sometimes less is more, sometimes less is more. So you have to pick up and, discuss with the clientele and see where you require it. Now talking about the color wheel, And we talked a bit about the warm toned light and the cool toned light. So here we are talking about warm colors and cool colors. So, the yellows, oranges, reds, and here we have this red violet zone. This is violet, yellow green zone, and greens, yellows, and blues. So, cool colors tend to lower the perception of actual air temperature, and hence the name associated with them is the cool colors. Hence, they can improve comfort in hot climates or in artificially hot settings. And same way, when we want, some kind of warmth and we also want an association of heat with it, we prefer warm colors. Color schemes characterized as warm, cool, neutral, they can be influenced by a number of factors, such as climate. Cool colors are generally preferred in warmer climates or holiday homes where summer occupancy is most usual, and warmer colors may be considered more acceptable in colder climates. Also depends on activity. Warmer colors are preferred in stimulating environments, cooler colors in calm contemplative settings. And we also have these associations of moods and emotions when we talk about, the color and color families. And it's a very profound science, and there are lots of tangible and intangible factors involved here. So we are seeing this color family in tints and tones of yellow and what it signifies in terms of emotions. We are seeing over here this particular wing or petal here. So we are talking about admiration and acceptance here, and we are talking about terror, apprehension this side. Joy, ecstasy over here, grief, sadness, and pensiveness over here. So there is a lot of psychology involved when we talk about colors. And there are a lot of human emotions that get captured through different kinds of colors. And color that way is also a very handy and very easy element in the sense that depending on your situation or the time that you're going through in life or the kind of emotions one is feeling, one could always change the color settings, and of course along with that light settings within the space or within the kind of corner that they inhabit or use throughout the day or year or months. So there is a very, very interesting association of emotions and moods when we talk about colors, much like there is an association of lighting and mood. So these are not some hunky dory decorative ideas. So there is always a profound science behind using lighting and color. So whenever I take my first ever introductory lecture of interior design, whether at IIT Roorkee or wherever I am invited, I just try to emphasize that it's a very technical, fascinating, scientific, interesting subject. It's not something which is to be taken lightly, and it's not something which is based on mere hobby ideas or just splashes of colors. With due respect to everyone, but this is something that I really like to maintain. The stimulatory and relaxing effects of warm and cool colors, respective, are proportional to the intensity of the colors used. Also, the orientation is an important factor. How your space or building is oriented or how the openings are oriented. South facing windows which admit a lot of daylight all year round, of course depends also on the context, which country or which climatological context one is situated in. Suggest a cool or neutral scheme, while a northern orientation suggests the use of warmer color combinations. Preference. So individual preferences, particularization, personalization. So spaces designed for many end users might best avoid overuse of intense colors, while the ones designed for a particular occupant can take individual color preferences into account. The effect of color on space. The apparent size and shape of a space can be modified to an extent by color selections. That's the power of using color and modifying an interior space. The choice between warm and cool colors or between light and dark tones can magnify or minimize the apparent dimensions of a room. Warm hues such as reds, oranges, yellows, and all their combinations, they are known as advancing hues because they seem closer to the observer than they actually are. A small segregated color area, such as a piece of furniture, upholstered in warm, intense colors, will appear closer to the observer and therefore larger than it actually is. Cool colors are known as receding hues and also their combinations. They appear to be further away than they actually are. So, if we see over here, this sofa, which is a small segregated space, and it has this color upholstery, it will appear closer and larger. Receding hues reduce the apparent size of small segregated color areas, such as objects, but appear to increase the dimensions of a room when used on large surrounding colors, such as walls. This is also very interesting. So, the receding hues, which are the cool ones, they reduce the apparent size of small segregated areas, such as the sofa that we saw, but they appear to increase the overall dimensions of the room where that small segregated area or an object is placed. So, that we have to understand. There is also a case study over here, the baby's nursery and the interior design of that, and monochromatic color scheme is used over here. So, monochromatic means like a single color. Monochromatic color schemes are derived from a single base hue and extended using its shades, tones, and tints. They create depth and serenity if one is using neutral or cool colors. So, this is different, like the base hue is one, and then there are different tints and tones explode, and then they are applied in this space. So, when we will see the color wheel, we will also try to understand the tint, tone, shade, hue, value. And this is the gender neutral color scheme, talking about the same project, which is the baby's nursery. And here the color palette is what you see over here. The gender neutral color scheme is clean, bright, beautiful, boasting winning combo of bohemian charm and Scandinavian inspired practicality. In this case, the case study that we have put over here. Now we are going to talk a bit about furnishings. I know there is a lot which is still left to be covered under lighting and color, so we will try to touch upon that, through different lectures, and we will see where we come across certain parameters when we talk about green interiors, some of the leftover parts when we talk about physics of light and chemistry of colors, and so on. So, furnishings, sometimes referred to as soft furnishings or upholstery. You might have heard this term a lot when we talk about interior design. Some of the words also appeared on different slides. Are components that incorporate soft materials and help create a pleasant and comfortable environment and complement the furniture and the fittings inside buildings. They can be made of fabric, chenille, velvet, silk, fur, faux fur, cloth, foam, even rubber. So, the common types of furnishings include all of these but not limited to these: curtains, cushions, bedding, mattresses, wall hangings, tapestries, rugs, chair coverings, sofas, bean bags, carpets, the doormats, also the window coverings. Soft furnishings fall into two major categories: simple soft furnishings and decorative soft furnishings. When we talk about simple soft furnishings, they refer to fabrics and leather without any enhanced and decorated surface treatment. Simple soft furnishings refer to fabrics and leather without any enhanced and decorated surface treatment, which generally means solid color fabrics without any decorated surface treatments, such as these. The decorative soft furnishings refer to fabrics with decorative, ornamental, beautified surface treatments. So they could have embroidery, screen print, block print, applique work, woven designs, patterns. And these make the surface of soft furnishings decorative, interesting, engaging. So, talking about curtains as one of the furnishings, these are types of translucent screens. Sometimes they could be totally sheer, sometimes they could be blocky, and they are often also used in a combination. The decorative curtains contribute to the surrounding decorations. Curtains create transition between the outside and the inside, and the choice of curtains could really uplift the mood within a space, also impact the amount of lighting entering or being concealed. Cushions, they are also very, very useful, popular, and important aspects of furnishings. They come in countless variations. They are usually filled with foam or down and used for pillows and sofa cushions. The higher the down content, the lighter and warmer the cushion. For sofa cushions, fleece is also often used as a filling material. Floor cushions and bean bags have become increasingly popular since the 60s. Then there is bedding. When it comes to bedding, one should look for skin friendly materials. Most popular textiles are cotton, satin, beaver. Then there are rugs. I personally am very fond of rugs. They provide a pleasant feeling of walking in the apartment. They are popular in bedrooms and living rooms. They come in wide variety. One could also customize them, tell personal stories about their own families, spaces, and life. Wall hangings and tapestries, they could also be very narrative. They provide comfort, they are eye catchers, and originally they started from Persia. When choosing a tapestry, just like a normal carpet, one should make sure that the size and color fits into the room. Then there are sofas and armchairs, which also create very interesting dynamism in a space and a very interesting atmosphere. A good sofa consists of a frame with a no-zag base. And I have tried to, explain a few terms which may be new for a few of us. No-zag, base, or down. If you still have more queries, you could always put them in the discussion forum. Then, of course, there are doormats, which are very, very common in use. They are practical to reduce the dirt from outside in the apartment. They are also like a welcoming and inviting piece of decor with messages sometimes written over it. And there are some tips to choose soft furnishing material, and it is very important to check the durability. Sometimes it would be nice to consult a decor specialist or take an expert advice or come to interior designers. And it's important to think about the patterns, going for distressed and patterned walls, pick plain fabrics to avoid the pattern on pattern malfunction. But if there are plain textured walls, the play with patterns could be explored and could result in very interesting, patterns and designs. One should be mindful of the colors. This is one of the most important rules to keep in mind while choosing soft furnishings. One has to choose colors in a way they complement and not clash. So that's interesting and important. Different types of fabrics which could be used for soft furnishing material. There is linen. Uh, this is also a very, very loved fabric. It's ideal for cushions, bed covers, pillow covers, easy to maintain, gives a formal or a casual look depending how you style it. Cotton, quite popular, usually the first choice when it comes to the soft furnishings, used for bed linen, towels, curtains, etc. But despite its popularity, it may not always be an ideal choice because it gets wrinkled and it needs regular ironing. Then there is velvet. It's a great choice to add a bit of a pizzazz or vibrance to any space. It gives a touch of luxury. There is also silk, which gives an absolutely ornate and royal look to your space. Wool is another one which, adds texture and warmth, but depending on the climate type and the context and the purpose, one could choose it. It is also known for acoustic reasons because it helps with noise reduction as well. Then there is suede, which is a type of a leather with a fuzzy napped finish, commonly used for furniture. It's not as durable though. Then we also have a few popular finishes. I'll just take a few more minutes to talk about finishes before we finish today's discussion. Interior finishes encompass all the natural and synthetic materials and devices used to cover the interior and exterior of a building's framing structure to enhance its service and aesthetic qualities. Finishing work is the concluding stage of construction. So, we are talking about structural construction work, finishing in that, as well as finishing in the interior spaces with all little details to the point of furnishing, etc. So, it is about natural as well as synthetic materials and a combination of whole lot of details. These are some of the finishes that we see over here. And there is a whole different lecture which talks about different kinds of finishes, plastering, painting, texture, what goes on flooring versus what goes on walling, etc. etc. So here we see this palette for bedroom, but there are a lot of finishes that we are going to see in that detailed lecture or discussion. So few popular ones I have just mentioned them in an overview manner over here. So acrylic finish, it is commonly used. It is a reflective and high gloss finish suitable for kitchen cabinets. Gives a smooth appearance. And it could be expensive. It gives the kitchen an elegant appearance and also designates a modern style to it. There is also high gloss laminate finish, and it is an alternative for acrylic finishes and gives a high gloss and reflective surface. It is cheaper than acrylic, has low maintenance cost. There is matte laminate finish. The texture of the finish is warm and inviting. It is suitable for all kinds of requirements, and these are some of the matte finishes over here. There is also stain finish. It is the best option for the natural feel of real wood. A kind of stain is sprayed over the surface after finishing it with the sandpaper. The stain is then wiped with the hand, which creates a pattern and grain of natural wood. There are paint finishes which we will discuss in great length, and paint finishing gives the opportunity to choose any color for wardrobes, cabinets, walls, different surfaces, and it creates interesting schemes. There is also a glaze coating. It's a semi-transparent paint. It can be applied over the stained finish or paint finish to give it more depth and make it look glazed. There is veneer finish. We are going to talk a lot about laminates and veneers. So it is made of thin layers of natural wood, gives the warmth of wood, very chic, elegant finish. There are also PVS foils. This kind of finishing is achieved by pressing PVS foils on the MDF board surface, the medium density fiber board, which is discussed under the segment timber. And there are scratch resistant and semi-gloss finishes available when we talk about the PVS foil. Of course, solid wood, which is very timeless and classic. It gives the warmth and feel of a natural wood. There is also membrane finish, which is suitable for all kinds of purposes. Looks like solid wood. One can get a smooth finish by using membrane foil wrapped around MDF. So there are unimaginable and countless types of finishes and ideas along with possibilities of customization when we see the world of interior design, and it's up to us what and how we design, for whom we design. There is varnish finish. I particularly like it. Of course, depends where we are using it. It's a transparent and hard solution that can be applied to wood to give it a glossy finish. Along with the glossy finish, varnish also creates a protective film around the wood, and therefore it is quite useful. There is also lacquer finish. It is an incredibly intense gloss finish. It is durable and resistant to damage. We also have leather finish, different kinds of patterns and textures. And it is a favorite for wardrobes and cabinets. It is great for closets in contemporary houses. There is PU finish, polyurethane, and it is available in low gloss, satin, and high gloss finishes. We are going to talk a bit about it under the segment timber, and it's quite sought after and a very, very interesting and royal looking finish. So, we talked a lot about different schemes and trends related to lighting, color, furnishings, finishes. Like I said, it is not enough, but we will carry on this discussion, throughout the course and through different lectures. And next time, I'm going to focus on drawings and representation techniques for interior design. Absolutely crucial, important, significant lecture. So I would like to see you there. The references for today, some are mentioned on the slides as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.